Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and please join me and my guests on this next interview. Poland's accession to the European Union in 2004 was backed by 77% of voters. Today, 26 years later, over half the electorate supported candidates with clearly Eurosceptic or anti-EU leanings in the first round of the presidential election. What's changed, and how does Poland's mood compare to other countries in the region like Romania? Joining us today on TVP World is Jan Truszczyński, former chief negotiator for Poland's EU accession, with decades of experience navigating Poland's European path and its evolving public sentiment. Hello, sir, and welcome to TVP World.
Hello, good morning.
So how do you interpret the fact that over 50% of Polish voters nowadays actually support candidates with more kind of Eurosceptic leanings?
Well, the reasons they support rightist, nationalist views are manifold, are different. Anti-EU feelings do not dominate the attitudes of those who elected rightist candidates. So I wouldn't ascribe it everything to anti-EU mood, which does not prevail in the Polish electorate, in the Polish society. It is true that getting the voters' attention by saying, I am anti-German, I am anti-French, I am anti-EU, does attract many voters who seek simple answers to complex questions. But I would like to say that we do not owe this rise of populism to the dissatisfaction with the EU or Poland's place within the European Union. Reasons are different, diversified, manifold, and we are dealing with a pretty complex general situation where by no means everything that is going badly or wrong in Poland must be ascribed to the fact that Poland is a member of the European Union.
Right, so perhaps the perception of most Poles being anti-EU is also a too simplified way of looking at the current election. So if you can help us get a better look at the perception actually of EU's membership and how it is perceived nowadays within Poland as compared to that since the 2004 referendum.
Well, the shifts, if any, have been pretty minimal. The degree of support for Poland's membership was shifting between 70 plus and 80 plus percent of the total electorate, which places Poland among those countries which are satisfied with membership in the European Union. We are at the top of the league, and we have been there for many years. Saying nowadays that the European Union is too intrusive finds an echo with part of the electorate. It's true. Saying that the shift towards more responsibility, own responsibility for European defense can be risky, can be dangerous for Poland's own security, is again something that is not only patently wrong, but also overly simplified, and yet it finds some echo within the electorate. Like I said, people, especially young people, who are generally dissatisfied with the powers that be and seek alternatives to the rulers, past rulers and current rulers, they tend to vote for people who offer simple solutions, simple answers, but there are no simple solutions and no simple answers in nowadays situation in today's complicated world.
Right, so would you attribute the voting pattern of the younger electorate more as an anti-establishment one rather than an anti-EU one? Perhaps whatever the establishment stand for is something that they're pushing back against, and EU is just perhaps one of those things.
You just hit the nail. It is indeed anti-establishment. One of the particular aspects of the outcome of last Sunday's elections is that, as they say, nearly 60% of voters in the age cohort 18 to 29 have elected anti-establishment, voted for anti-establishment politicians and supported their views. Their views are, by the way, wildly different from each other, and their views over, in addition, are not really very coherent, and yet this or that aspect of what Mr. Manson or Mr. Zandberg have been telling the young voters, those young voters found it attractive enough, interesting enough, and they were seeking anyway answers to and alternatives to the current duopoly that has been ruling Poland for the past 30 years. So there you are, the contenders, the incumbents, and his competitor, Mr. Trzaskowski and Mr. Nawrocki, will be trying, of course, hard to attract the attention and support of those young voters, but it will be difficult. None of them scored high in that cohort of the electorate. And in less than 2 weeks, it will be pretty difficult to find solutions and proposals which will allow those young people to say, yes, this is my choice now, this is my preferred choice. I will bother again and go and vote again, and I will see what comes out of it.
Right.
Well, it's difficult. It's difficult because indeed there is some shift ongoing within the Polish electorate. The powers that be have not noticed the strength and the velocity of this shift. And responses will be found eventually, probably. But whether these responses will be offered already by Trzaskowski and Nawrocki between now and the 1st of June, the second round of presidentials, I doubt it. It's too late for that.
And time is definitely of the essence here as we speak. Now, when it comes to the EU sentiment, can the same be said about the whole region as well? Because perhaps even if Poland still stays on track, we are also seeing different countries now having a little bit more kind of Eurosceptic sentiment. Is that something that you also observe, or do you think that perhaps it's also kind of overblown a little bit and it's kind of mistaking an anti-establishment narrative to an anti-EU one?
I would say that the rise of populism is definitely something that we are experiencing across Europe. We have been seeing that for many years already. It is rising still. In Romania, those who are dissatisfied and those who voted for the rabid nationalist George Simeon, they will not go away. They are numerous and they need to be addressed by the president, incoming president of Romania. In Portugal, on the same day, parliamentary elections, snap elections, and there you saw other rise of Chega party, which are Chega is a deeply nationalist party, again, populism, if you like it. If you like. So I would say it is a phenomenon which is spreading across Europe, and the traditional parties have not found useful, effective response to that trend. So we are no exception. We are part of the general picture, but the choice on the 1st of June is nonetheless pretty clear. If Trzaskowski, then Poland will remain firmly within the European mainstream, influencing the general course of events and helping itself and the other member states to a more, I would say, powerful, potent European Union, or Mr. Nawrocki, and then Poland will drift into the periphery of the European Union, losing impact, losing influence, losing all the possibilities that come from being effective and influential within the European Union.
Right.
So the choice is pretty clear, only many voters do not see that clearly. And the question remains, how will especially the young voters behave?
Right, last but not least, going back to the European Union's influence, do you think that in the future we might still see being the most dominant force in the region, or with all these populists popping up and kind of general sentiment changing a little bit, we see a decline in relevance?
Well, decline in relevance is something that we have been living with for many years already. In terms of the general place in the global population, global GDP, global trade, global investment, any indicator you see it, we are moving downwards in the league tables, not upwards. And that is something that will continue. But in the uncertain world, in the uncertain global environment, our reason to be is to go more united, to do more together, to do more together for European defense, for European resilience, for European innovation, for European growth. Whether we manage to do that or not remains an open question.
Brilliant.
But
We are only as strong as we are
willingness
together and as
to
weak as we are apart. Thank you so much, sir. We are running a little bit low on time, but thank you so much for your input and insight. Really appreciate it.
very well.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for tuning into this edition of World Talks. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.